Hi, this is first tutorial about how to set up two-node rack setup from the beginning. So before we start, we'll require some of the softwares like we will require VirtualBox. So you can download the VirtualBox from this location. And this link you can use to download the VirtualBox. Also, if you are, I mean, if you are using Putty, that's okay. Otherwise, you can use the mobile XTEM as a putty option. And next one, you will also require 19c software. So you can prefer this link to download the 19c softwares. And also you will require the um, Oracle Linux 7.8 version. So all the tutorial will be covered on Oracle Linux 7.8. You can explore this link to download the same. Once you downloaded all these things, then you install the VirtualBox on your system, and also you can install the mobile XTEM, and you can place all the software at one location where I mean you from there you can use this software for the installation. Okay, and this is the ISO image that can be used for um, operating system installation. So so initially we will be installing the Oracle Linux 7.8. Once the installation is over, then we can proceed for the rack setup. And let's quickly do the rack setup one by one. So first we need to, oh, sorry. So first we need to click on the new option from here. Let me close the other window. This one is not required. So once you click on the new icon from here, you need to define the name of the machine. So let me give the name as rack 1. This is going to be, or I think mention it like primary 1. Okay, so we will be creating two-node primary, two-node standby database. So my first machine will be prim1. Now I'm going to place this in the some location. Let me cover this one like drive. So here I'll place it. Okay, from here we need to select the Linux operating system. Click on the next. We need to define at least 8 GB of RAM. So I'll select like a 8500. Create a virtual hard disk now. Select the second option, VSD. We need to assign dynamically allocated option from here. Next one, we need to assign space. So we'll keep the space like 120 GB for rack creation. Okay, once this is over, then you need to go for setting. Again, here we have to select some of the options, like we need to enable bidirectional option description, and under this system you need to increase the number of process depend upon your system. And also you can enable the 3D acceleration from the display. Under the storage, you need to select the ISO image that is that will be used for operating system installation. So from the link, once you download that folder, I mean the file, you can choose from the disk location, or you can, if it is already regularly used, you can use from the frequent use details. Okay, so my files are placed at this location. I just selected this one. Also we need to go to network. So there are three settings we need to select. So two IPs, like one will be used for public IP, one will be used for private IP, and the third one will be a bridge adapter. So under this, we need to select internal network. We need to define the name. I'll give the name like public network. So the communication uh, between the two nodes will happen through over the private network. So I'll assign another network as a private net. Okay, next one is the adapter 3. So adapter 3 should be always a bridge adapter, so that you can access the internet in your VirtualBox machine. And this is a private net, this one is a public net. Okay, and while creating the other nodes like prim2, that is a primary node 2, and also the standby 1, standby 2, the naming convention should always be same, otherwise the communication will not happen. So this should be the in your mind. And also we need to give this uh, next one is a shared folder. So you can provide the location of drive where your files are kept. So like I already have this software in place, like you can say DB home, grid home, these are the software already at this location. So what I'll do, I'll just share this location with within my VirtualBox, so that this can be very easily accessible. Okay, So once this is done, then I'll click OK and start the installation. So as soon as we start this particular machine, the initially it will load from the disk that we already given. So we need to go for installation option from here. So the installation will begin. Yeah, so now we have like welcome to Oracle Linux. From here, we need to click on continue. So initially it takes a bit of time. Once this is over, then you can select the software selection and the installation destination. So we'll go with the installation destination first. We need to click on I will configure partitioning from here and then click on done. After this, you need to select the plus icon from here. So we need to define the boot mount point. So what I'll do, I'll make the boot mount point as a 1024 MB, that is 1 GB. Next one, you need to select the slash mount point where your operating system installation will base. So I'll define it like 20G. Click on add mount points. So now we have still 99 GB. So next one is the swap. So swap, I'll keep it like 8500M. Click on next. And next one is we have 90 GB left. So we'll create two mount points, one U01, U02. U01 will be for grid installation, U02 will be for database software installation. So I'll make it like a 45 GB at the mount point. Next one, again, we will define U02. This will be around, we'll keep it like 40 GB. Next one, we need to create slash TMP. That will be 5.8 GB. Sorry, 5800 MB. Click on add mount points. Still 27 MB is left. We can ignore that one. Just click on done. Accept the changes. Next one is the software selection. Under the software selection, you need to select server with a GUI. Select all these add-on components. It does not have any impact, but still we'll be selecting all of this. Okay. So once this is selected, then click on done icon again. So almost all of them are selected now. We'll click on done. Still it is taking a bit of time. Let it finish. And also we need to select the date and time. So accordingly, my location, I'll select the date and time here. Click on done. We need to select a network and host name details. So here I'll give the name host name as a prim1 because this is going to be my primary node, prim1. Click on apply. So we need to enable the bridge adapter setting so that we can access the network, and also this will give me IP address. So here you can see this is the new IP which got allocated to this machine. Okay, so whenever you want to access the server, you need to select this particular IP to connect to the server. Apart from this, we need to also yeah, so most of the settings are already done. We can click on begin installation. So here we need to give the root password. I'll keep the password smaller only. We need to click double 2 times on the done icon. Next one, we need to create one test user also. You can keep any naming convention. I just keep password is not matching. Let me retry. So now the installation has started. So within like 10 minutes of time, this will be over. So meanwhile, I'll pause this video, or let me let it run. Once the installation of this package is over, then we can proceed further. Now we have to reboot this system once the installation is over. We'll click on reboot and it within a few seconds it will get rebooted. Now we need to select the license and agreement, click on accept the changes, click on done, and that's it. Click on finish, installation is over. So now we'll log in with root user and then we'll proceed further. So once you log in, once the login is completed, after that you'll see this in screen. Select the default language and all those options. If you don't want to enable the location service, just disable this from here. Click on next, skip this, and then start using the Oracle Linux. Lastly, you can close this window. After doing this, we need to do certain more changes. We need to go to this device option from here. Click on insert guest addition CD. Now we need to click on run. So this will take a bit of time, like 2 to 3 minutes. Once this installation will be over, then then you will be able to see the all the shared drives which we already previously shared, right? So as of now, that is not there. So as soon as this installation is finished, you'll be see this one, and there will be a shared drive. Also, you can enable the display once this particular module installation is finished. This one is completed. Now we can close and you can see this 19c software files are visible, which was shared previously. After doing this, we need to change the settings. So let's quickly change the settings because I just want to increase the display. I'll go to devices. From here, we can select the resolution. So I'll just try to increase the resolution. Click changes, click on double click. We need to do the double click. I think this will require the restart of the server. So let me quickly take the restart of the server, mute 6. Reboot is about to finish. Meanwhile, we can start taking the connection from here. Click on this icon. So go to the session from the mobile extern, click on SSH, provide the IP address. So this server IP address is 192.168.0.196. So we need to connect on this as a root user. This will ask the password if it is not already saved. So yeah, so now it is asking the password. I'll provide the password here, and that's it. So installation is finished, and when we can see U01, U02 mount points, TMP is there, slash mount point is, so everything is there in place. So from here we need to proceed for the rack installation and configuration. Now the display is set. This is our first node, that is a prim one, and from here now we have to proceed further. So in order to configure rack environment, we need to install the some of the pre-installation package. So using this pre-installation package, we can proceed for, I mean, this will create the, this will also create Oracle user. So if you run ID Oracle command, as of now, it is not there. Now we can proceed from this point. Let me copy the commands one by one and I'll try to paste. So using install command, you can perform the Oracle database pre-installation on this package, which will internally do the few more package installation. So within a few seconds of time, this installation will be over. After this, we can re-verify certain things like ID Oracle. Now, if you see here, you get Oracle user also. Oracle ASM support library is also required. We'll install this one. So by installing this particular package, we will be able to access Oracle ASM command. So you can see this one. And also you can verify the kernel parameters by running sysctl-p option. So this is also done. After this, we need to create certain groups. Few of the groups will be already present because of Oracle user creation. After that, we need to proceed for the user creation. So Oracle user is already created. Now we have to just create the grid user. So this second command which I selected here is to create the grid user. Okay. So this one will create the grid user. If I run ID grid command, you can see the grid user is created. Also, we need to allocate the groups for this user Oracle and grid. So this is also done. After this, we need to modify the password for Oracle users. So let's modify the password. So I'll keep the password smaller for Oracle users. Similarly, for grid also, we need to set the password. So let's put the password for grid user. This is also done. After this, we need to set limits.conf limits. So basically for Oracle and grid user, we need to set some soft and hard limits. So as for Oracle in standard values, we need to set this by soft and hard limits. Let me copy it from the command. So these are the values like number of open files, number of processes. These different values we need to set for both grid as well as Oracle users. So once we paste this command, we can save the file. Next one is we need to create the directory structures. For 19c, I'll keep like U01 mount point for grid home. If you see here, we have selected U01 for grid home, and U02 mount point will be used for the database home. This will be our inventory location, and this will be used for the keeping the patches. So during the maybe later section, we'll be covering up how to install the patch, and all those things will be covered in this. So I'll just run all this single command from the root user. Also, we need to change the ownership because U01 will be a grid related stuff. So I'll give the ownership as a grid and no install. U02 will be Oracle, that is for the database. Also, we can modify the permissions. After this, we need to log in as a grid user, and we need to set the profile. So from here, we can just edit the bash underscore profile, shift G, sorry. Go to the last line using the shift G command, then copy these values. So this basically is for setting the default environment variables for grid users. So this, if you can see here, we have selected Oracle ASM, Oracle SID as a ASM1, and this will be the grid home location. So I'll just save this for, and if you just want to verify, just do the reload of the profile, do the cd $Oracle underscore home. So you can see this is working properly. Similarly, we can set for database user also Oracle user. So let's copy it from here. Okay. Dot vi dot bash underscore profile save g. Okay. We can just check whether profile is properly set up or not. So we can see this is a DB home location. That means it is working perfectly fine. After doing this, we need to set IP based what you call etc host file. We need to edit IP address. So we have like two private IPs, two public IP, two virtual IPs, and the scan IP. Okay, so private IP basically we will be keeping this two for node 1 will keep the private IP is at 10.1 ending with 10.1 and 10.2 for private prod 2, that is a secondary node private IP. Okay. Similarly, the public IP will be keeping the 56 ending with 56.71 and 72. So one thing you can see here, the virtual IPs and scan IP are the same segment. That means within the same network card, they will be getting used. And normally in production environment, you will be getting scan get through resolved through the DNS server. But here we don't have any DNS server. We will be using IP based configuration. So I'll copy these values as it is and we'll edit the etc host file. Go to the last line, shift, and then you can just paste the values here. Save the file. Okay. Apart from this, we need to also do certain more things like we need to modify the actual IP address. So I'll unlock this root user and we need to go to the network. So this one is the network icon here and we need to click on the first network. Let's and go to wired setting. From here, we can select again the setting button over here. From this, we'll select IPv4, click on manual, and we need to allocate the private IP. So first one will be our private IP. Let's copy the value from here. Or you can just keep like naming convention. So previously we have given the naming like a public network for first network card, right? So we'll keep all the public IPs in the first network card. So I'll put the public IP, that is this one, 192.168.56.71. So I'll paste the value here. Also, we need to allocate net masking, that is 255 3 times, and then 0. This you can keep 0.0.00. Then again come to the details, click on connect automatically. This is important because okay. Once you make the setting, you click on off and on again, and similarly we have to do for the private IP also. So secondary network we will be using for private IP. Click on connect automatically. From here, go to manual option from IPv4 and then paste the IP address. So this is our first node private IP. Will keep this one as it is. Just copy the IP from here, paste it again, put it the 255 3 times. This is a net mask IP, and since this is an internal network, so we don't require any gateway on this setup. So we'll click apply, stop, and start. Okay, so this network setting is completed on this node. Later we will be making a clone of this particular virtual box machine, and we'll be modifying the IP from that. Okay, so these values are already inserted. Now we have to disable the firewall. So in order to disable the firewall, we can use this command. Okay. Run as a root user. This is over. After this, we need to select the network time protocol. This is the command to enable the network time protocol. So I'll just paste it like this. So the first two command is to enable and restart of the service. The second one is to verify this one. Okay. So at this junction, we are ready with some of the initial prerequisites. So from this, we'll be creating another 3 machines like prod 2, standby 1, standby 2. Okay. So we'll make the clone of this particular VirtualBox machine. I'll stop the machines right away using the init 0 command, and then we'll be making a clone of it. So once the VirtualBox machine is down, then you can make the clone of it. Just click on clone. So we have to do the full cloning here, and select the prim2, then go to location where you want to keep the file. So I'll select the rack one, select the folder as it is. We need to click on generate the new MAC address, click on the next, click on the full clone. So this has to be done 2 times more because of one node for primary 2, and then we have to click on create a standby 1, standby 2. Okay. So within a few seconds or few minutes of time, and this will be over. After doing this, we need to start these machines, and we need to modify the host names. Apart from modifying the host name, we also need to modify the Oracle SID from the bash profile. Also, if required, modify the networks. Okay. So this one is done, and also we'll create one more clone. This will be our standby 1. So I'll make the standby 1 stby1, and again you can keep the file location. I'll place it in the same location where we were last time selected, and we need to click on generate the new MAC address, click on next, full clone, done. Again, we'll make another clone of it. Just click on clone, make it standby 2. So we'll total require 4 machines. Select the location where we want to keep the file. So this is going to be my node 4. Generate the new MAC address, click on clone. Full clone we have to select. After this, we'll start the prim2, that is my primary node 2, and we'll modify the host name and other stuffs. So I click on start button from by selecting this. So now we can see the login pages here. So click on root user and put the password. We need to modify certain things, so we quickly will modify the passwords. Sorry, not password. We need to modify the network settings from here. Select the network, click on wired settings from here. So we'll go to this tab setting. So this is 71, right? So we need to modify it as a 72 because it is this will be our second node. So click on apply, stop, start. So when I say 72, that means this is the second node. Second node IP address for the prod. Okay. So similarly, we need to also do the network modification for private IP, that is going to be 10.2. Click on apply, stop, and start. We can check the network. This is the IP address of the server. So previously we have IP address as 196. So I'll keep the IP address 197. So we can modify this one because this is automatically generated IP address. We'll click on manual, put the IP address here. We'll keep the IP as 197. Then again, we need to put the net mask. But this time we have to put the gateway also. Gateway will be ending with 1 because it depends upon your local PC. If you check cross verify the local PC, you will find out your gateway. So using the if config run, if you run the if config command, you'll get the gateway of your machine. So based upon my gateway, I put the values over here. Click on stop and start. Again, we'll take the restart of all the networks. So now I'll try to take the connection from 197 server 192.168.0.197 and then root password. So this is already used, because of that warning was coming. I'll just click on yes, and then it will ask for the root user password. So once we connect to the server, we can just like I'll change the background of this one so that it is easy to understand. Let's modify the color here. This is our second node. This is a prim2. Okay, so still we can see the host name coming as a prim1. We need to modify the host name. So I'll just go to the commands from here. This is the nmcli is the command that we can use to modify the host name. So host name is not now modified. If you click host name, or if you take the duplicate session of this one, automatically we'll see the prim2 there. Okay. Sorry, it's a prod2. All right, this is a prod2, not a prim2. Oh, so naming convention should be prod2, prod1, those things. I was confused with the name. So we will keep the naming convention prod1, prod2 only. So this primary one node, that is previously we used primary one, right? So now this is a prim2, and its host name will be prod2. So apart from this, we need to also modify the Oracle SID bash profile. So we'll connect as an Oracle user. Let's log in from Oracle user. And then click on bash underscore profile. This will be prod2. Save this value. Similarly, we have to do for the grid user also. Since this is going to be our second node, we need to modify this one as a ASM2. Save this file. I can stop the server and later we'll restart it again. So apart from this, we need to also modify a prim1, because by mistakenly we have given the wrong host name there. We need to modify that as well. And we will start standby also. This is the first node. Let's start the network. So if you are using the mobile XTEM, that best thing you can do, just using the R button, you can restart the session. You don't have to log in again and again. You just have to press the R button. Okay. So this is our first node, that is a prim1, that is we need to modify the host name of the server. Right. So if you can see this, its host name is a prim1. We need to modify this because by mistakenly I did that one. So first we'll run this command to check. This is a prim1. We need to make it like a prod1, not the prim1. So let's keep the values like prod1 dot local domain. Okay. Now we'll restart the network again. And if I'll take the duplicate session now, it should show me the host name as a prod1. So this is our first node, that is a prod1, and the second node was prod2. Okay. So we can say that our initial primary nodes are started successfully. So we can start the second node of primary setup, that is a prim2, and this its host name is a prod2. Okay. So I think meanwhile the standby is also started. Let's log into this standby, and we need to make certain changes related to the. So So this is our prod one, and this one is a prod two. I think still started. Let's okay. Prod two is also started. So we can say that our initial primary setup primary nodes are ready, prod one and prod two. So now we can proceed for the standby related changes. So what I'll do, I'll just first modify the color of this particular system. So now this one, we need to modify, change the background. Go to the backgrounds. I'll keep the color like this one. Okay. So I think this looks very dull. Let's modify it again. I'll keep it little dark side. From here, we'll go to the network setting. So let's first check the server details. Click on wired setting from here. This is the server IP, and we can modify the server IP, or we'll keep the 157 only. So for standby, I'll keep the IP address as 157 and 158. And for primary setups, it is 197, 198. Okay. Not 197, 196 and 197. And for standby, we'll keep it like 156 and 157. So let's modify this out. And this is the IP, right? This is the first node. So we'll keep the IP as 157 rather than keeping it like 255.254. Again, we need to provide the gateway also, just stop and start. So this is our first node. This is its IP is 196, 168, 192, 168.0.156. We'll try to connect through the SSH. So apart from this, we also need to modify these two IPs because this is a standby setup, right? So for standby, we need to use these IPs. So far we have used ending with 10.1, 10.2. Now we'll be extending this IP as a 10.3 and 10.4. This will be our private IP. This is going to be public IP, that is 73 and 74. And the rest of the things will be also auto extended. I mean, we'll be extending this one. So previously we used 81, 82 for virtual IPs. Now it is 83, 84 for standby related virtual IPs. And these IPs are for the scan IP. So we need to first modify the etc host for, keeping this. So let's log into the server and then we'll do those changes. Okay, so we are on this server, and as the best thing, we need to just first modify the host name. So let's modify the host name, and then we will be modifying the etc host and other stuffs. So we'll take the fresh connection as a duplicate tab, close the icon, existing one. So this is started now. Right. So this one started. Now we can clear the screen. So let's copy this out, and sorry, host name is, now we can see this STVY1. So from this we can directly jump to the next thing, that is putting the IP address into the etc host file. So we will modify etc underscore hosts. So since we are configuring two node rack setup, right? So these prod, that is the primary setup related IPs are required. So additionally, what we will do, we'll be keep the standby related IPs also. Okay. So here I'm going to paste the standby related IPs. So if you see here, this is our first node standby private IP. This one is the second standby private IP, then public IP, VIP, scan IP. So I'll save this file as it is. And once this is done, so we need to modify the private IP, that is by logging into the server, and we need to modify the IP address, actual IP address for the public and private IP. So public IP for standby 1, that is node 1, is 73, ending with 73. So we'll keep the value as a 73 here. Then apply. Stop and start this network again. Similarly, we have to modify the private IP. So private IP, I kept like 3 dot ending with 3 for standby private IP. Okay, so we will apply this IP, stop and start. Okay, so this is done. So we can say our standby ready. First standby is ready, but we need to also modify few more things. Let's connect as Oracle user. Login as bash underscore. We need to edit the bash profile. So in bash profile, we need to export the Oracle SID as stby1. Okay, save this file. And if you log in as a grid user, let's log in as a grid user. We don't have to modify anything in grid because ASM will be always ASM1 for first instance, right? So first node. So this is going to be standby 1. So ASM will be ASM1 only. So we don't modify this part. Okay, so most of the things are done for the standby 1 also. And now we'll start the last node, that is a standby 2. So once this will start, we need to also modify IP address and other stuffs. Now my standby is second node started. Let's log in as a root user, and we need to modify those IPs again, IP address also, and also we need to modify etc host file. So let's quickly modify these things and see. So we'll go to insert to wire setting here. Click on internal. This is our IP address of this machine. We need to modify this. We'll keep it like 157 255.255.0, and this will be ending with 1. Apply, stop, start. This will be our node 4, right? So standby 4, that means it will be a 74. If you have any confusion, you can refer this file. So this is our standby 2. Public IP for standby 2 is this one. So let's make the IP as this one. Once you modify any IP, apply, start, stop. Same thing we have to do for private IP also. So private IP is ending with 10.4. Let's connect to this one. After this, we can just apply the change, stop, start. So the IP modification is done. Let's modify some background also so that we can, during the time of, okay, this one is our standby 2. This one is our standby 1, standby 2. So let's log into the server from here. We need to connect to 157. Sorry, it's a big IP. So you can see the host name as a prim1. We need to modify that first. Let's quickly do that. This is going to HTTP by 2. Let's see. So once we modify the IP address, take the fresh connection so that we can quickly see this. Okay, so this is our host name. After doing this, we need to also put the etc host file. So just click on edit. Since primary related IPs are also required for rack standby configuration, so we will be additionally putting these IPs related to standby here. So this is done. So let's quickly, we have to first verify whether these networks are reachable or not, okay, between the primary nodes and standby nodes. And these IPs we can also place in prod 1 and prod 2, because while for creation of 2 node rack setup, with these IPs are also going to be required. So what I'll do, I'll just place the IP in the primary setups also. This is our second node, so let's modify this. This one is done. So this, at this junction, we are ready with the systems with the proper IP address. And one thing we can do here, we can just cross check the server reachability. I think the step which is this step where I have already mentioned all the steps. Let's quickly copy this ping command. Okay. So from first node, I'm trying to ping the standby nodes. That is a standby private IP. Here you can see standby node 1, standby node 2. So everything is getting reached, right? This is our prod 1. From here I am able to access the standby servers. Similarly, we can check from the prod 2 for accessing the standby. So standby private IPs are also reachable. And same way we can verify for private IP and 1 and 2 related things from first node to second node and vice versa. So this is also working between the nodes. I mean, primary 2 nodes are also, we are able to see the connection reachability. This one is done, and the same thing we have to do on the standby setups also. So let's quickly do this also from the standby servers. Similarly, we can verify between the standby nodes 1 and 2. So we can say overall the network reachability are there between the 2 primary nodes and the 2 standby nodes, and even though from primary node to the standby and standby node to the primary nodes. Okay. So we are good with network here. Now we can proceed for the rack configuration on the primary setup. So we will close the standby 1 and standby 2 during the time of configuration of rack on the standby setups. Primary setups. Okay, so this network reachability is done. One more thing is we need to do here. We need to modify Oracle list ID. So let me quickly modify the profile here. So this will be prod 2. So this will be for standby 2 stby. This is going to be instance ID. Similarly, we have to do for grid also. Okay. Vi dot bash underscore profile. This will be asm2. All right, so this is done. Now I'll stop these 2 machines, standby 1 and standby 2, which is no longer required. Using the init0 command, we can do the same. And this is our prod 2, and this one is a prod 1. So far we have completed the initial configuration. Now we have to proceed for ASM configuration. So first we'll be targeting primary setups, that is a prod 1, prod 2. In order to set up disk, that is our ASM related disk, we need to first bring down the both the servers, and we need to allocate the disk at VirtualBox setting level, and after that we will be making certain changes in the within the VirtualBox. So first we'll bring down these prod 1 and prod 2 VirtualBox machines, and then we'll proceed further. So this is our first node. I'll stop this machine. Similarly, we'll do the second node also. So once we stop the machines, we need to go to file option from here, go to virtual media manager. So this time we need to click on create, go to the second option, that is VHD virtual hard disk, click on next. For ASM disk, we have to select fixed size only, and we can give the location where we want to keep the ASM files. So what I'll do, I'll create new directory with the name ASM underscore prod. So here I'll keep the ASM files. So the first disk will be used for OCR. So I'll keep the name as OCR01.vsd. Save this file. So we'll keep the size around 8 GB. We'll keep it, yeah, 8 GB should be fine. Click on create. So we will be required at least 3 disks. One will be for OCR, one will be for um, data file, and last one will be for FRA, or you can say for archive log locations. So this is for this will be data related mount point. So I'll keep the name as a data 01.vsd, and I'll keep the size little more. In this case, I'll take it like around 20 GB. Click on create. So once we create this disk, we need to also make its property to shareable, so that it can be shared across primary 1 and primary 2. That is our prod 1 and prod 2 instances. So this is done. After that, we need to also create one more disk. Click on VSD. Next, this will be used for archive location. So I'll keep the name as ARCH01, and we can make the size around 12 GB. Click on create. So this is done. Now we can change the property. So we have to this is archive one. We can select and make the shareable. Click on apply. Similarly, we have to do for OCR and data also. So data one is this one, which we just now created around 20 GB. So we'll select this and make the property as shareable. Click on apply. Similarly, we have to do for OCR also. This one is ASM underscore prod. This is just now created. Click on apply and then close it. So after this, we need to go to this each VirtualBox machine, that is a Trim 1 and Trim 2. Go to storage, click on controller, click on this right side icon, and from here you can see this virtual disk. You can see the virtual hard disk from here. These 3 disks we have to attach here. Similarly, we have to attach the data also. Data 01, click on choose. And the last one also we can select the ARC01. So we have all the disks available here. Click on OK. Similarly, we have to go to the second node, that is a Prim 2, and do the same thing. This time you need to find this disks, because initially it was non-attached. Now it is attached with one of the nodes. So we need to list out from here only. So we are going to select OCR01, which is of 8 GB, this file. If you don't know, just click, just put the cursor there, you'll get the location like this. So I'll select this location. And next one is we need to select the data. So data is around 20 GB. So let's take this one. And the last one is the ARC01. So if you now see here, we can see the controller, it is shareable, and similarly, this is also a shareable. So with this, we can say our disks are shared across both the nodes. Now we'll start both the machines together. So remember this, we are just doing the install, drag configuration on the primary setup, that is a prod 1 and prod 2 machines. Once the configuration is finished, then we can proceed for the standby creation. So once this machine will start, we can just press R button to restart the servers from here. Still taking the time to start. Let's wait for another few minutes. Yeah, so this is the started now. You can clear this screen. Let's do clear command. Similarly, our second node, that is a plot 2. So both the machines are started, and now we have to make some more changes within the VirtualBox machine. So using the putty, we can. So in order to use any disk, so normally the disks are available in terms of like if you run lsblk command, right? So you can see this disks are basically getting get partition. So if you remember U01, U02, so these are like some of the partition which we created previously. Similarly, if in order to use any disk, we should always create at least one primary partition. So these are the new disks around like 8 GB, 12 GB, and 20 GB. So these three disks we have to do the partitioning, and then we can use using the Oracle ASM command. So in order to do that, we need to use fdisk command. So fdisk is one of the commands that you can use to make the partitions. So once you run this command, you can click on help, M for help. You can, if you don't know any command, you can run M to get the help. So in order to create new partition, you have to use N command, and then after that you need to just click next, 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 and finally you have to save this using the W commands using the write back. So this one is also completed. Similarly, you have to do for the other also. So similarly, we have to do for other disks also. If you rerun LSBLK, now you can see this partition got created, which was not there previously. Similarly, we have to do for SDC and SDD also. So run the same command, that is fdisk command. So let's do it quickly. And this is done. Similarly, we have to do for D also. Click on more, click on W. So if you rerun LSBLK, now we have all the three partitions got created. So these things we have to do only on the first node, not across all the nodes. And after doing this, we need to run Oracle ASM configuration command. So Oracle ASM configuration, this is very important command which we need to do. So initially you have to provide the ownership. So for Oracle ASM related disk should be owned by the grid user, and its primary group is oinstall group. So we'll keep oinstall. It should be the ASM library should be loaded down the boot. So it should be yes. So these options we have to run, and if you don't, if you want to cross check, you can run the configure command without -i option there. After doing this, we can just go for the next command, that is creation of the disks. So we have to make three disks, and that will be in terms of Oracle ASM. So far we have just allocated the disk. Now we are going to use those disks in terms of ASM. So for using that, you need to run the Oracle ASM create disk and ASM one, and then you can say, so you can give any naming convention. If you're creating this for OCR, you can mention like OCR1, and this will be our disk. Okay, so it says Oracle ASM module not loaded. That means you have to run Oracle ASM init commands. Okay, so this is done. So after doing this, we need to initialize also. I mentioned like initialization of Oracle ASM. So you need to run Oracle ASM. You need command for this. After doing this, now if you rerun the above command, you can see this got created. Similarly, we have to do for other disks also. So next disk will be data disk. So we'll make it like a data, and this will be STC. Similarly, we have to do for last disk that will be used for archive. So I'll make the archive 1. After creation of all the 3 disks, you can just run the scan. So normally scan is not required in local, uh, but still we will execute it. And last one is the list disk. So you can see all the 3 disks are available on prod 1. So few more things we have to do on the second node. So on the second node, you just have to run Oracle ASM configure command. So this should be grid o install and y. So after doing this, you need to initialize it using the init command. After this, you don't have to create the disk because we already executed these commands. You just have to scan the disk. So because it is already shared across all the nodes, we will be seeing the disk available across all the nodes. So now we have both the nodes having the ASM and disks are available. Okay, so this is done. ASM preparation is also completed. After doing this, we can move to the next part, that is a copy of the software. And then first we need to copy the software. Copy the software on the first node, that is a prod 1. That will be a local node. And then we need to unzip it. Once we unzip, then after that we need to configure the passwordless SSH. Okay, so let's do this quickly. Since we already shared the files, so the files are visible here. We can just go to this path, run the ls-ltr. We need to copy the DB home software and grid home software along with the latest OPatch utility. Since we are going to use what do you call apply RU method to apply the latest patch. So this particular patch is like I think 19.11 patch, and uh, I'm just placing this patch on this particular path. So in order to apply any patch during the time of installation of grid or database software, you have to also have the latest OPatch utility. So latest OPatch utility is already there in my shared drive. Okay, so I just have to, what I need to do, I need to copy the files, grid software and OPatch utility to the grid home location. So this is the grid home location app 19c grid home. So I'll copy the file in this particular path. Similarly, I have to copy the database software at U02 mount points that previously we created. And also we need to modify the permissions accordingly. Like if you are copying in the grid home, you need to make the ownership of these files to the grid home, and then vice versa. Okay. So this is the DB home software. We also need to copy the latest OPatch utility, and this will be U02 app Oracle product 19c on DB home. So first we'll go to this particular path and we'll modify the permission. And then we'll go to the next path and again we'll do the modification. Since during the time of rack configuration, you have to just copy the software on one node, automatically the second node will be taken care later. So we have the software ready here, and now we can do ls-ltr, and we can see these 2 files are there. We'll modify the ownership. We'll make it grid and o install to all the 2 files. And now you can rerun execute this command. And similarly, we have to go to the DB home path and we need to modify the ownership. So these are the 2 files we can see. We need to modify the ownership as Oracle and uninstall these 2 the files. Okay. After doing this, we can just re-execute the command to verify, so it is visible here. And lastly, we need to go to the this particular path again, and we need to copy the patch. So as per my documentation, which I'm going to use, this particular patch is I used 32545008. Let me copy that particular patch from here. So we are going to place this patch in latest patch location, which I already created the directory previously. I'll just copy the patch on this particular part. Again, we have to modify the ownership because the files are copied from the root user. We need to change the ownership because this file has a grid I know installed. Okay. So from here, I'll just switch to the grid user. We'll go to Oracle underscore home. Now we have to unzip the files. So far we just copied the files. Now we'll be unzipping the files. So let's first unzip the zip file. So once the files are unzipped, we need to remove the old Opatch version of the file, and then we'll unzip the latest Opatch utility, which we already placed in this particular directory. Once the softwares are unzipped, and we have to configure the passwordless SSH between the two nodes, like the prod1 and prod2. The softwares are unzipped now. Let's remove the zip file, and then I'll remove this zip file. This is no longer required. And also we need to remove the Opatch utility, which is a lower version now. And then we can unzip the latest Opatch utility, which we already copied in this path. Again, we'll remove this Opatch utility, sorry. This is also removed. After doing this, we can say that our softwares are unzipped, and now we will be logging as an Oracle user, and we need to do the same thing for database software as well. So we'll unzip the Oracle database software, and then we can unzip the Opatch utility also, same way. Also, we have to unzip the patch which is this at this location. So now the software is unzipped. Let's remove the Linux, this one db home file. And apart from this, we need to also remove the opatch utility. Let's remove this one. Then unzip this file p68. That is your latest opatch utility. Now we will re-log in again as a grid user, and we need to grid user, and we need to explore to this particular path where patch is placed. We need to unzip this from the grid user. Once the unzipping is finished, after that we need to set up the passwordless SSH using this user. So so if you want to do for a grid user, you need to log in as a grid user. If you want to do for Oracle user, you need to log in as Oracle user, and then we can run these commands. So we have like a SSH user setup.sh file, which resides within the grid home, or you can say Oracle home day installation location. So this is the location where we need to go first, and after that we need to run this command where minus user indicate the user name for which the password list needs to be created. These are the two nodes host, like a prod 1 prod 2, and next one is a no prompt passphrase. That means um, it will create the password list using the password which we passed, and this will give the confirmation also. Okay, so let's run these commands once the patch is done. So now we can see the patches um, unzip. We can run ls-ltr here, and after doing this, we can next move to the this location. So let's copy this location. So in order to create the passwordless SSH, we need to run this command. So it will verify both the nodes reachability, prod 1, prod 2. After doing the prod 1, prod 2 reachability, it will ask the password for grid user. So I'll provide the password for prod 1, prod 2. Again, it will ask prod 1 password, prod 2 password. Once it's successfully done, then you can do the SSH from first node to the second node. Sorry, prod 2, prod 2. Even though you can do SSH from prod 2 to prod 2 itself, prod 2 to prod 1 also, and even from prod 1 to prod 1. This is working. That means the passwordless between the first node is completed, first node and second node is completed for grid user. Similarly, you have to do for Oracle user also. So in order to create passwordless between the Oracle users, we need to do the same thing. First, we need to go to the deinstall location within the Oracle home. This is the home location. We need to run this command. This time we will be changing the user as Oracle user. So let's copy this command and paste this. So we need to provide the Oracle user password. Okay. So there is like one small change we need to do manually. First, we'll go to .ssh here, run as ls-ltr. We need to scp few files from this location because like let me show you what is the issue here. Actually, if you try to go to prod2 from here, and if you go to .ssh here, run ls-ltr. So you can see there are few files missing on the second node, but it is there in the first node. So we need to scp those files which is missing from here. So let's copy the public file, private file, as well as Yeah, these are the files which is required, and after that we need to provide the location and the host name where we need to transfer. So this will be on prod2 colon. These three files are done. Let's do the SSH now. It is working, and even though if you try to do SSH for the one from prod2, it should also work, which is working. That's good. And then same thing for prod2 from prod2 is also working. Similarly, you can do for prod1 to prod1. This is also. So for Oracle user also the passwordless is created, and same thing we can do for root user. Root user is not mandatory, but still we can do the same thing. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll go to this particular path from root user and then execute the same command again. Put the root password here. Again, we need to do the same thing which we did for Oracle user. There is some known issues. We need to just copy this public and private keys from prod1 to prod2. Now if I'll try to go to prod2, it will work. This is S to prod1, it should also work without any password. This is also working. So we can say the passwordless between the nodes are created for all the three users. After doing this, we need to proceed to the next step, that is grid software installation. So to do the grid software installation, we need to first log in as a grid user, because we can use directly using the mobile external. We can directly connect to the users, and we can use without setting the display. We can execute the installation commands. Okay, so we will be logging to the first node where all the softwares are kept. So grid user. So IP will be 196, 168, 196. Once we log in as a grid user, it will ask the password. So let's put the password. After login, we need to go to this location. From grid user itself, we have to do the same thing. Okay. So we have all the patch in place. This is 19.11 or 19.12. I'm not sure. Once we do the installation, we can verify this one. So using the apply RU method, we are going to do the installation for grid setup. That means this will first update the patch, and then it will do the installation of grid. So we are going to execute this command, that is grid setup.sh minus apply RU. So within few minutes of 10 to 15 minutes, the patch will be applied automatically, and then we'll get the GUI for grid setup configuration. So meanwhile, this patching is getting completed. We can just check for the logs by going to the grid home location. So if you just want, you can explore up to this location under the Oracle home. CFG tool logs, the patch auto, /score. This is the path where you will get all the logs related to the patching. You can do the tel minus 100F or whatever value you want, you can just put. So first it will apply the patch, and then the grid software installation will come up. So meanwhile, this patching and all getting done, we can wait for a few minutes of time. So after installation of patches, we can see the GUI here. So we can start the configuration of grid. Okay, so we need to just click on configure Oracle grid infrastructure for new cluster. Click on the next. and we need to go with configure an Oracle standalone cluster. Next, we need to provide the cluster name and scan name. So scan name is a prod minus scan. If you have any query, if you have any doubt, you can just cross verify through the etc host file details. So just do the cat command for etc host. So these are the details for the prod related scan. So we can just put these values here, and we can go to the next tab from here. So now we have to add the second node also. Click on add. After clicking on add, you need to select the prod2.local domain. This is the host name. Then VIP also for the second node, we need to select, click on OK. These are the two nodes we need to select, click on next. So now you can see it is just verifying the passwordless connectivity between the two nodes, which is already in place. So after this, we can select. So 56 series is used for public IP, and 10 ending with 10.0. I mean, this segment, this will be used for ASM and private network. So we can click on next. Click on use Oracle Flex ASM for storage, and will not go with this option. That is for like management MGMT database, which is no longer required. Next one, we have to select the redundancy, and this will be the disk group name. So our first disk group name will be OCR, and external redundancy. From here, we need to select the path. So while selecting the path, we need to give the path as dev/oracle asm slash disks. Click on OK. So we can see all the three disks are visible. We have to select only one. Click on the next. We need to provide the password from here. Just put the password, common password for sys and asn smnp. So we click on next. This will go with the default option. Next, we need to, if you have OEM cloud control details, you can put it here to make the sync with the OEM. Next one, we need to select the group. So all the groups will be install group only. I'll go with the default groups. This will give warning, you can ignore. Click on the next. This is the Aura inventory location. That is the central inventory. Click on next. So we'll select the automatically run option for root script execution. While running the installation, it will ask whether you want to proceed or not. And we already given the password. It will just ask whether you want to proceed or not. So we'll just click on yes during that time. Now click on the yes, and it will go for the next step. since we don't use what do you call, um, since we are not using DNS server, because of that we are getting these errors, and apart from that we have this error. So we can fix this by running the fix and check again. So let's wait for, I mean, we need to run this sh file from prod to prod1. So we'll connect to prod2 first and let's execute it. /tmt. And this is a grid setup.sh run fixer. So this file we need to run from second node first, and then after that we need to run from the first node also. What is the file name? Let me copy from here. CVU run fixer.sh. So this one is done. After doing this, we can click on OK, and we'll just re-verify the output from here. So we left with only one error, that is this one. So we can just directly ignore this because of DNS is not there. We are getting this error, so we can safely ignore this and click on next. And from here, we can start the installation. So this installation will take a few minutes of time. While going for the installation, you can click on details to verify what is happening here. And so one thing I can say, once the installation is over, we'll see the failed message because the DNS is not there. So after the installation of grid, basically it verifies the details. I mean, it does the post checkup. So during that time, it will fail on the DNS. So that error we can ignore, and the rest of the things will be very, I mean, simple only. So so this installation will finish within few minutes of time. I'll be checking. Now we have to click on yes to run the root scripts. So let's click on yes, and it will automatically execute the root scripts. So we can see this configuration start from local node, then it copies the data on remote node, and then does the root script execution. So overall, this is how it got, this configuration works. We can just check the logs also. Meanwhile, this configuration is still going on. We can run tail minus f command to check what is happening. The script execution is still in progress. So once the script execution on first node is over, then it will go for second node. So after completion of first node root.sh execution, you can see ASM will be up and running. Even though you can run d.bin also. Now it is running on the second node, that is a prod2 node. Okay. Once this will be over, then we can say the grid installation is completed successfully. The node 2 is completed. The only thing it is doing like post verification. So here you can see this got failed because of the DNS, and ultimately this will give us error at the end that we can ignore safely, and it does not have any impact on this. So if I'll connect to the second node and I'll do the PS-U pipe grep theme on, ASM is also there. Click on OK, and then you can click close. So we can click on skip, yes. And with this, we configuration of grid is completed successfully on both the nodes. If you want, just verify through the commands like ps-ef pipe grep, and also you can run cractl command to verify the same. You can see this got completed and all the services are online. Prod 1, prod 2, these are the host, and you can see the services are online. So with this, our grid configuration is successfully completed. After this, we need to also create the disk group for data and uh, archive disk groups. So we'll use ASMCA utility to configure the new disk groups. So we need to connect as a grid user, either from first node or second node, and then we have to run the ASMCA command. So this is the prod related grid home configuration, which is completed successfully. And also we can directly go to this from here. We have to select the grid disk groups, and we'll need to click on create. So these are the existing disk groups we can identify. We have to select the redundancy as external, and we need to give the name as a data from here. Select the one of the disk which is used for the data related work. So these two disks are available now. Disk groups are available, OCR and data. It is mounted across all the two nodes. So similarly, we have to select the third one, and we need to give the name as archive. This is our disk. Click OK. So this will create the disk group for archive, or you can say FRA related steps. This is our last disk group. All the three disks are created with external redundancy, and these are the mounted across all the two nodes. So with this, our grid installation configuration completed. Now we can proceed for database software installation and database creation. So I'll close this window here. Now the grid software installation completed, and we have already created the ASM disk groups. So from here we can start for a rest of the task, that is to do the installation of database software. Okay, so this is the two node setup which is already running with ASM. So let me connect as an Oracle user. So in order to perform the installation, we need to connect on the local node of first node, that is 168.0.196/Oracle. Once we'll connect here, now we have to go to back Oracle home location. Here we need to run ls -ltr, and after this we can execute run installer. So while running the run installer, we have to use apply RU method. This patch is already in place, so we can just verify it. This is already there here. So the patch apply is in progress. We can connect as Oracle user to just verify whether the patch is properly getting applied or not. Oracle underscore home slash CFG tool logs. You can see the patch is getting applied. So once the patch gets successfully applied, after that we can get the graphical interface for the installation. So we are doing the database software installation right now. After this, we'll create the database. So after waiting for a few minutes of time, we can see this installation page is here. So we have to click on software installation only. Then move to the next page, that is Oracle Real Application Cluster Database installation. So I'll go with the next option from here. These are the two nodes where the database software installation will take place. Click on next. So now we have to select Enterprise Edition. This is the base location. This is the software location. Click on next. Here we have to select all the options like go install. Click on next. Run the root script using the default password of root. So again, the same thing, that is the DNS is not there. Because of that, these failures are coming. We can safely ignore this one. Click on the next, then click on installation. So installation will begin. First, it will do the on local node, and then it will go for remote node. Now we can see that this configuration has requested for root script execution. We can click on yes, and it will finish the installation. So after this, we can just cross verify that the software installation for our database is completed or not. You can run sql +-v command from first node as well as on the second node. That is it brought to. So this is working. Now we have to create the database using the DBCA. So we'll invoke DBCA and we can click on create database option. So now we'll go with the advanced configuration option from here. We need to select custom database, and this will remain the admin managed. These are the two nodes where the database instance get created. So now we have to mention the database global name. So we'll keep the name as prod. And we need to create a container database. So we can define the number of containers, PDBs. So we have to select the create container database option here. We can define the number of PDBs. So let's keep the number of PDB like 2. So use local undo table space for each PDB each. So we'll just increase the number of PDBs is the 2 option here, and this is a PDB. Click on next. After this we need to provide the data file location. So this is our data file location. I mean, we can use all the available disk groups. Since we created data disk group for data file, so we'll keep this one. And if you want, you can select the OMF. And as per best practices, we should if you are using the ASM, we should go for OMF based locations, and because this will create a multiplex redo log and control files. So the best thing we can do, I mean, I'll deselect this option as of now. So this is giving the warning. We can ignore this warning and click on next. So here we can, in the next step, we can specify the fast recovery area and enable archiving. So for fast recovery area, we will use archive mount point. So it is expecting around like the 23 GB of space, but we need to keep it lower, or else we can just reduce the number of PDBs to 1, and let's see how much space it will require. So generally speaking, it requires minimum of like a double of your database size. So it is expecting around 23 GB, but we have less space. So I'll go with 12 GB space allocation, and here we can change the archive format as ARC, Under this, we can specify location for archive where archive will generate. So this is archive mount point, archive disk groups. Okay, so we'll select this one and click on next. So location specifies the fast recovery location has insufficient free space. Okay, let's do. So as of now, we'll disable this option. We'll just enable the archiving. Next one, we have to move to the next part, that is the SysOx, and these are the default options. We'll stick to this same, and this is SG and PG combination. So SG is around 2.4 GB and this is 800 MB, and these are the all these options will keep its default only and move to the next part. We'll disable this one. Cluster verification check is not required, at least in testing environment. For sys and system and PDB admin, all the users, I put the common password. This will give warning, we can ignore. Create database. So from here we can move to the next part. So after verification, these are the same errors that we got initially. So we'll ignore all these errors and then we can move to the next part. Click on yes. So finally, we'll create only a single PDB and one CDB. So number of pluggable database is 1, and we have the container database. These are the file locations. These are the PID CDB. These are the PDB locations. And from here we can click on finish. The database installation will start now. So we have to just wait for like half an hour or 45 minutes of time, because database creation takes more time. Once the database creation will be over, then we can proceed for standby related stuffs. That is the same thing we have to do until this point for standby database creation. So now the database creation is completed. Let's log in and see. So we have created 2 node rack setup, and this is our first instance. Let's run, select instance underscore ID. So we can see both the nodes are up and running. And these are the 2 PDBs, which is we created. This one is a feed CDP. This one is an actual PDB that we have created, and it is currently in retry mode. So we can say that database creation is successfully completed for rack environment with PDB. Also, you can run the command srvctl status database -d prod -v. So this will give you the current detail about the database, and we can also cross verify using this ps-ef break on. Similarly, you can do it on the second node also. That is prod 2. Here also both the instances are up and running. So with this, the installation and rack 2 node rack setup completed on primary side. Now we can proceed for standby database creation with the same steps.